How many of you have experienced a breakup? Okay, but what type? Because have you ever thought about how we go through friendship breakups as well? It's common that when we hear the word breakup, we start imagining ourselves on our couch, eating ice cream with a blanket, and watching romantic movies while crying, right? Or is it just me? This is funny because I have never even experienced that type of breakup yet. But anyways, you know what I have indeed experienced? A friendship breakup. First, I need you to do math with me. Let's suppose that you go to the supermarket, then to the church, later to school, and finally you walk home. How many people did you relate to today? How many people do we meet throughout our lifetime? We couldn't even put a number, right? We meet thousands of people every single day. But with how many of them do we actually establish a relationship? According to a study made by anthropologist Dunbar, we are capable of forming and keeping an average of 150 meaningful connections throughout our lifetime. But that isn't all the information he got. Have you ever heard about Dunbar's number? Let's talk a bit about this. Dunbar's number suggests that a human is capable of recognizing 1,500 faces with their names. Also, that we can make 500 acquaintances, which are people who we slightly know. Then the number goes down to 150, which are our meaningful connections. He explains this as people who you would invite to a party. Then 50, who are our normal friends. Then 15, who are our close friends. And finally, 5 loved ones. I know, right? I find this incredibly interesting. But wait, there is more. He explains that when we are born, we start this journey with 1 or 2 connections. The peak is in our late teen years and beginning of our 20s. And by our 30s, we have reached the average. Sadly, this number starts to plummet when we arrive to our late 60s and early 70s. I want to focus on how the peak of forming meaningful connections is when we are teens, because that's exactly the stage in which I am right now. So, hello everyone, my name is Diana, and it's a pleasure for me to be here with you talking my experience of friendship breakups. A couple of minutes ago, I was explaining to you Dunbar's number. And the reason why is that I want you to understand that not everyone we meet is a real friend, and that people come and go. It's like a cycle, and I see it like this. First, someone appears in your life. Then they teach you something, or vice versa. And finally, you grow apart. I think this happens a lot during our teen years because we're in the process of discovering who we are and our purpose. So it's obvious that we'll go into different directions. But don't get me wrong, I'm well aware that friendships can end because of other reasons, like the fact that people change, and that's okay because, to be honest, I've changed a lot as well. And also because, in other cases, friendships become toxic and false. I've experienced all of them. And I know it hurts, but I promise you, at some point, we are ready to move on. You see, as a little kid, my parents would take me to the mall. I would play with other children. I didn't even know their names, but still we would promise to be friends forever. Then, I would never see them again. I think when you're a kid in those circumstances, it's easier to let go. Then, when I was around 10 years old, I had 2 parrots, Tito and Tita. They were my very first best friends. I would spend hours in the backyard just watching them and feeding them and spending time with them. I loved them very, very much. Until one day, Allah stated that we needed to have certain stationery to keep them since they were exotic animals. So my dad decided to give them away because it represented a lot of money. And it was really sad because I couldn't even say goodbye to them. Because one day when I came back from school, they were already gone. And the most recent breakup I had was with one of my best friends. We had been friends for almost 4 years. And from the very first day, we got along. We got closer and were always there for each other. Until one day, this person started changing towards me. She would tell me things as a joke, but later I realized they weren't. So later I was thinking, what happened? Then we had a misunderstanding that led to a series of confessions that I would have never imagined, at least not coming from her. It was really sad because I don't have many friends, and the fact of her telling me those things really affected me because many questions arrived in my head like, what did I do wrong? Was it all my fault? Now, in retrospect, I'm glad to have had those different friendship breakups because they've made me stronger, and somehow, believe it or not, even wiser. I believe this happened a lot during the pandemic. Like, in my case, my social life was over because I didn't see my friends every single day at school, nor could I hang out with them. So we took different directions that separated us. We stopped talking, we changed, and like the story I told you before, some became false. I guess that I've learned that that's how life works. As I said before, people will walk in and out of your life. And according to a PhD aqua voting, we rely on our friends for emotional support. We get used to reaching them for advice. Some of them even become part of our family. So let's think about it. With all those facts, it's obvious that friendship breakups are going to be really challenging, no matter how long you've been friends with that person. Nowadays, I have no more than 5 close friends. But you know what? I wouldn't change them for anything. They're the best that has ever happened to me. And I'm really grateful to have them in my life and to be able to learn from them. And why not? Maybe they can learn something from me as well. Friendship breakups are part of the adventure called life. So, as Eleanor Roosevelt once said, people will walk in and out of your life, but only true friends will leave footprints in your heart. So keep strong and brave, and even though it might be difficult, learn to let go and appreciate your real friendships. Thank you.